You could have a program, a federal program, where you have to have a 2-day gun training program. You tax the gun producers and the weapons manufacturers, and then you get them to pay for it so poor people could afford this program.
Right, but you can't do that because gun ownership is a constitutional right. Or I should say, gun ownership is a human right, guaranteed, protected against government infringement.
I'm all about training in schools. I think the public schools should have gun training for kids.
Like they used to.
They used to,
absolutely, yeah. Gun clubs.
I would highly advocate for more training, but you're just suggesting that you can't force it on people?
The Constitution clearly, and according to the writings of the Founding Fathers and to, I think, Heller versus D.C., gun ownership is a human right, and the Constitution protects against government infringement of that right. That being said, we got the NFA, we got the updates to the NFA in the 80s, so certainly gun rights have been infringed to an absurd degree. You know what? Not to mention, back in the days when they codified the Constitution, people owned warships privately, and Halliburton, Northrop Grumman. Well, I shouldn't say Halliburton; they're a construction thing. But Northrop Grumman, Boeing, etc.
Lockheed.
These companies are private companies that build nuclear weapons. So we basically where we're at right now is that private corporations with no accountability can have the most powerful weapons of mass destruction in the world, but them and the government and it doesn't follow. Either the people have the power or they don't have the power, right? We've abdicated it to corrupt organizations.
And corporations are not people.
Right.
Let's be clear. This regarding this dude that choked the guy out, I think what's going to come up is was it adequate force or was it too much? And I feel like if he had punched the guy directly in the face, that would have been worse. Because although, if they got into a fist fight, because he could have fallen backward and hit his head. At least he was in control of the guy's body. It's really sad that the guy died, but I feel like this was like a very low level amount of force to apply to someone that was threatening to kill people or hurt people.
Why did 3 people find it necessary to try and stop this guy?
He was probably flailing and kicking and screaming, who knows?
So it is hard because you mentioned there's no footage prior, but something happened that resulted in 3 New York people who are likely not conservatives to decide this man must be subdued.
Yeah.
3 people. Yeah. So when it comes to the idea of proportionality, I'm like, if 3 New Yorkers of all people were like, this guy's got to be stopped, that's kind of crazy to me because, look, I'm a gun nut, right? My view is people have a right to defend themselves with a lot more force than people in New York do. But if people in New York felt they had to stop him, these people, I doubt these guys are conservative. There's like no conservatives live in New York. It's like 20% Republican, and if they are Republican, they're probably moderate right. Something must have happened. But I don't even need to sit here and say what could have or what must have. What we know, what we choose to believe based on what the police, the media, and the witnesses have said is that this guy was threatening people with violence and said he was prepared to lose his life over it. Three men then said this man must be subdued, and they subdued him. And then the guy died, which sucks. It's unfortunate.
Did he get a cause of death?
It was a compression of the neck. Yeah. Homicide.
So you've got a massive platform here. A lot of people watch you all the time. And so what you say, obviously, and advocate for is going to affect a lot of people's lives. If this is a problem that genuinely concerns you, why isn't it something that you would frame and want to advocate for more resources for mental health access and bring that up on a regular basis? And I'm not saying, and I'm sure, okay, hold on, Tim. I'm sure you've done it before. I'm sure you've had specials before. I'm what?
We do it a lot.
Okay. Why isn't that the focus? Why isn't today, hey, by the way, everybody, this horrifying tragedy happened on the New York subway. We got to talk about this.
Yeah.
Here's our angle. Our angle is we need to invest in mental health. We need to invest in giving access to public health care for Americans.
First of all, when it comes to the issue of violence in this country, conservatives have been screaming about mental health for decades.
Reagan is one of the ones that gutted the institutions in America.
Reagan's one of the worst presidents this country's ever had. No fault divorce. How about that? Gun control.
Yeah.
I don't know why Republicans like that guy.
The reason that they like him is because of the way that he stood up to communism. But I totally agree that he had a lot of really bad policies, and I'm not a stan.
But conservatives have taken the stance of gun violence and mass shootings as an issue of mental health, and then the left takes the opposing.
But do they invest in that? Do they vote for it?
Well, of course not. The Republican Party's garbage.
When I look up the votes of the Republican Party, they're not voting for amendments that are actually going to give people more access to mental health.
But that's
where you have an opportunity.
But you don't want to come onto a show where we say the Democratic and Republican Party should be dismantled and obliterated, and then make an argument that one side is bad. I'll sit here and be like, bro, if you want to have make a list of every single member of Congress who should be removed from office, I will put all of them but 4.